What's up, Bruins fans? I'm here to give you the latest info on your beloved Boston Bruins. In this video, I'm going to talk that the Boston Bruins just played a hockey game. It was preseason, though. There were some bright spots, not so bright spots, and honestly, why it really doesn't matter at this point. If you've been liking my Bruins content, please leave me a like and subscribe. If you've already done so, thank you, and let's get into it. The Boston Bruins lost tonight 3-2 to the New York Rangers in their first preseason game. But that's just it. It was a preseason game and not something to get angry about. These games are to see what rosters hopefully have for the vets to get back into their rhythm and to see who can make some spots. If you look at the roster tonight, you maybe have a handful of guys that will be on the opening night roster, and one of them only if Swayman isn't signed. I'm going to start with the back end out to discuss the highs and lows of this game. Once again, though, it's a preseason game and there's zero cause for panic. We're only 16 days away from actual puck drop on the Boston Bruins season. So for some of these kids, these games actually do matter if they want to make this club. Let's start off with the goaltending, which unfortunately wasn't good at all. Brandon Bussi faced 12 shots and let in 2 goals and had an .833 save percentage. The second goal wasn't the best one to give up, and he looked to be fighting the puck all game. His rebound control was non-existent, and he looked to lack any confidence in his game. He sure didn't look like a goalie that played phenomenal last season in Providence, and also just recently learned that he's probably going to start the season with Boston as long as Swayman doesn't sign. After he took a seat for the night, and no, it wasn't because he was pulled. In the preseason, it's very common for 2 goalies to play in a game. There was even a shot of him on the bench yawning, which says more than I'd like to say about his play in that game. Now DiPietro, who also couldn't control the puck and was giving up whopper rebounds, but lucky for him, New York could never capitalize them because the Bruins defense did a good job of keeping the Rangers away from the front of the net. The one goal he let in was a pretty savable shot from a tough angle that should have been a routine but slipped by him. Neither goalie played particularly well, and it's not like they faced much NHL caliber players from the Rangers either. And they're lucky they didn't because it would have been a bloodbath. The Bruins defense played solid, but no one really stood out. Witherspoon had a nice fight, but he needed it because he was getting bounced around all game. Mind you, one of the hits he took was pretty late. Mason Lohrei looked a bit slow out there and didn't have the same jump we saw from him in the playoffs, but in the same breath, he was carrying the puck well out of the zone, but had trouble finding open forwards to pass to as they seemed to bunch up a lot and not get open for the breakout. On the power play, he might as well have been playing by himself because there was no one to pass to, and it just looked disorganized. The forward group had some notables like Trevor Kuntar, who my buddy Dom has been raving about, and I finally got to see him play. Strong on the puck, makes hits to separate opponents from the puck, goes to the net, and uses his speed to find open seams. He was by far the Bruins' best player on the ice. He had a nice goal by going to the net and putting in the rebound. If he keeps this up, he could give the Bruins something to think about, but it's a numbers game, and I still think he'll start in Providence regardless. Riley Duran was a pest out there for the Bruins and played a solid game. He didn't make many mistakes, and he was noticeable on almost every shift. He was an energy guy out there doing a lot of things good, but at the same time wasn't flashy. I saw a lot of people online raving about him, but he didn't impress me as much as everybody seemed to make it out to be. Mark Kastelik played a solid game, minus 2 penalties, but I felt those were him trying to do too much at the time. When he stuck to his game, he was effective out there and was a net positive on the ice. He battled in the corners, in front of the net, or, honestly, anywhere on the ice for that matter. If it wasn't for his penalties, I would think fans would be chanting his name after this game, and I have a feeling fans are going to love this guy. He seems like a warrior on the ice and will back down from no one. No one else stood out to me in a good way in the forward group, but 2 players left me shaking my head and hope that this game was a wake-up call for them. I've been talking all summer about Lysell and Murkulov and them having to have a good shot to make the Bruins. Both looked unimpressive tonight. Lysell looked almost invisible out there because of a back check at the end of the game that saved an empty net goal is the only reason I kind of knew he even played in the third period. He had no speed out there, couldn't separate, and his shots he took looked weak and always shooting when there was a man in front of him. Murkulov didn't look strong on the puck at all, and while I could see his speed out there, it was all for naught as he would cough up the puck almost as soon as he got it. Both players need to be better in their next game if they have any hope of making the Bruins out of camp. I said before it's just preseason, but for some, this is all they have, and they need to show they want it. If this was a real NHL game, both Murkulov and Lysell would have barely seen the ice in the third period because they didn't earn any of the ice time they got. Hopefully we get to see better effort in the next game. That's a wrap on today's video. To stay up to date on all the news surrounding the Boston Bruins, please subscribe and drop me a like. If news breaks surrounding the Boston Bruins, be sure to check out the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you. And I'll see you next time.